Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome your Master of Ceremonies, Ryan.
Check, check. You guys hear me okay? Hi, folks. Thanks for coming out tonight. Very exciting. I'm in shock right now that we are actually done with this project. My name is Ryan. I am the director. Let's see here. I am the executive producer of Hollywood Productions. I am the co-founder of A.P.T. Media, and I am the director of Operation Endgame, which is the film we will be watching shortly. Again, thanks for being here. We've all had a blast writing, directing, and filming this video. We began pre-production on this in fall 2011. We shot it over spring and summer 2012, and I've been editing it since last December. So here we are 2 years later, and we're ready to show it all to you. So tonight we're going to watch, this afternoon rather, we're going to watch the film. I'm going to introduce our cast and crew to you, and then I'm going to talk about some of the future plans we have with our student film organization, A.P.T. Media. So we'll get started shortly. Just a quick note about the film. A couple of us are playing different characters throughout the film. Generally, if we're wearing a different shirt, we will be a different character. So, that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy Operation Endgame. Okay, here we go. So, again, thanks for coming. I'm glad you enjoyed the film. I would like to ask the cast and crew to step outside, please. I will be calling you in. Yep. I will be calling you in one at a time to introduce you to everybody. So let me get situated. And I'd like to thank the cast and the crew and their families for their flexibility while shooting this. We had quite a few scheduling hiccups and quite a few mishaps while shooting, which we'll talk about in detail. But because this has always been something I've wanted to do, make a full-blown production like this, and I couldn't have done it without these guys. So because of their hard work and because of their support of me and my filmmaking ability, each family will be getting a free DVD of this projection. Okay. So now I would like to introduce our cast and crew to you. We're going to start with Nate. Nate is our assistant director, producer. He's basically my right-hand man. He helped with the story and a lot of the filming and tech work, and he also played an extra character. So, thank you, Nate. We'll just line up like this if we're going to take a picture. Okay, next off, I'd like to introduce William. Will is our main character. He plays himself, but he also had a very important role in helping when we were working on the script and just giving some creative opinions that a lot of which we used and helped bring the production to higher standard. Okay, next I would like to introduce Eric. Nate was my right-hand man, Eric is my left-hand man, and that actually might be better because I am a lefty. But Eric was a lead actor. He played our villain, and he did a very good job at it. He was another producer, so he helped with some creative ideas as well, and he was our composer. A lot of that music was written by him.
I did take some of the music that was written by Hans Zimmer as well as Gustav Holt, so not all of it's mine.
Okay. That's this thing. Alright, next I'd like to introduce Jordan. Eric plays Dr. Helgren, who's our villain. Jordan plays Fred Grant, and he's still not very excited about that name, but he did a very good job, and we're very happy to have him on production. He also was our creative consultant, so he read the script as well and gave more ideas. Next, I'd like to introduce Jared. Jared also plays himself. He was kind of with us from when we started the beginning working on with film and stuff, so we were really glad to have him on production too. He played a very interesting character that we explored. And then I would like to introduce the rest of our cast, Isaac. These guys we pretty much called up at the last minute. We realized we needed a couple more soldiers for the shoot down by the river. So they kind of last minute showed up and like, hey, we'll do this for you. Also, Evan Bacall was one of these guys too. He's not able to be here today. So this is the casting crew, everybody. Got it, Rachel? Okay, so now I'd like to give you a little bit of history on this project and how it ultimately came around. Nate and I really enjoy working with film and video. We both have our own cameras and we've just done some experimenting on our own. However, we both wanted to create a movie together, and we have wanted to for such a long time. So in 2011, I was over at his house and we decided one day just to shoot a short film, and this turned into Operation Extreme. There's me being very cool. We had a lot of fun doing this, and then I had a lot of fun editing it. So later that summer, we did another short film, which we called Operation Showdown, which is that was shot at my house. So we realized we really enjoyed making videos with each other, and so we formed our own student film crew called A.P.T. Media. A.P.T. stands for Action Packed Thriller, as you can yes, very fun, lots of guns, lots of fighting. So we've just really enjoyed working with movies and stuff. So later that fall, we created 4 more short films, and we called this collection The Best of A.P.T. Media Volume 1. We really like doing that, but we always had wanted to still do some sort of feature film, something over 10 minutes long. So I wanted to do a sequel to the Operation series, which somehow tied in those first 2 films, Extreme and Showdown. But as these guys will tell you, I went ballistic with the writing, and it had turned into a 20-page script. Originally it was called Operation Blackout, and we shot some test footage at Open Door December 2011. But it eventually changed to Operation Endgame, so that was Blackout. We started working the script in November 2011, and we shot the tests over the winter, and then we started looking at locations in March 2011. This is North Mississippi Regional Park. It's right down by the Mississippi River, which is where we shot the bulk of our film. And then, we shot 3 days in 2012. One was over Memorial Day weekend. We shot another one right before Labor Day weekend, and we shot a third one in mid-September. And then we had a couple of random pickup days. When I was editing, I realized I needed a couple more scenes, so we just picked up with that. Check. Okay, so now I would like you, and you to have a seat. We're gonna open this time up for questions. If you've got any questions about how we made it, some of the other miscellaneous behind-the-scenes stuff, if you have anything. Anyone have a question?
Did you have to get permission from the park to be able to run around with guns? And
We had the guns were basically just pieces of wood that were jigsawed. We just painted those in color so they wouldn't look like real guns.
Okay.
Yes.
Eric, how long did it take you to write the music?
Well, for different sections, it kind of varied. In my theme, which is Dr. Huggins, very dark, dun 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 dun. It wasn't too long because all I did was I took my favorite chords, which is like C minor, etc., and then I just did the same pattern. And then for Will's theme, it took a bit longer because I actually had to process what was gonna happen in the story, like what was going on, what he does, and then I had to put that into music, and that took a little longer. But most of it's in my favorite key, which is E flat major. So.
You want to do this as a living when you get older?
Yeah, I would actually. Ultimately, I want to become an orchestra conductor, and then my second choice would be composition for movies, and then third would be performance. So, yeah.
Tom, you had a question?
Follow up on that. So, did you start writing the whole thing as just time kilo wise, as it was being shot, so you got a sense of the characters and the whole thing, or before you started filming, or after as you were watching, you said, okay, we need this here?
It was kind of all of the above. I started with my theme first, actually, just because I was fooling around, and then Ryan approached me and asked, hey, do you want to write the music? I was like, oh yeah, sure, that'd be cool. So then, while I was over at his house, actually, I kind of finished up my theme song and worked on a start of another one. And then it was kind of like through the process of filming, I'd come to him at church and I'd say like, oh, I just did this, how's this sound? And then we kind of work on that together, and then we just work off of that.
To add on to that, I edit in a unique way. Normally you edit all the film together and then add the music. I like to have the music and then edit to the music. So, I think you had a question?
I'm going to ask, how in order or out of order did you have to film the scenes?
That's a good question. Nate, do you want to elaborate on this one? Or should I, because I'm editing it? What we did is we wanted to get all the stuff with the large group done first, so that we did most of that on the Memorial Day weekend. We were going to just finish everything on that August date as well, just finish everything up. But the bee stings happened, which, who doesn't know that story, by the way? Some of you. Okay, so what happened was we were shooting on, Jordan explained this a little bit in the video, but we're shooting on this like pile of dead mulch and stuff in the middle of the park. That was that scene where Will is confronting Helgren right after he gets punched in the face. And then what happened was we were walking down out of that, and then all of a sudden, we're not sure who it was, we think it was either Jared or Eric, stepped on the wasp's nest and just released a torrent of wasps. And
it was Eric, because Jared was
it was Eric.
was it to my right.
Yeah, and so Eric got stung on the lip, and so we had to do some of the voiceovers down by the beach later because his lip was all swollen, he couldn't say his lines. We shot one more scene with Jared and then he left. But anyway, back to the question. So then we just picked up with everything we had left in the middle of September. And then as I was editing over spring and summer, I realized there were a couple of gaps in the storyline. So then I called Eric up and we did a couple more pickup scenes, if you will.
Did you actually ever kill anyone in this movie?
What was your favorite part? Did you like doing, everybody looked like they were having a good time with the acting. Did you like doing the acting part, or did you like doing the editing part?
I kind of like all of
writing,
these. Yeah, I kind of like all of the above. I wrote the story back in December, right after we finished Operation Extreme and Showdown. I wanted to somehow integrate those clips into the film. So originally those were going to be part of the story as well, which we had shot. But as I was going, I'm like, these guys are too old. They won't fit in consistently. So I decided to scrap that, and then, as they'll tell you, I was rewriting as we were filming. So when I saw we missed a scene on one day, I'm like, well, we're going to just forget that and move on. So, but to answer your question, I think I probably enjoyed editing the most, even though it also was the longest and most tedious part of it. All those gunshots, by the way, I had to add in by hand. I just would drag and drop it into Final Cut, tweak it so that it would fit into the scene. So, one at a time, you know, we saw those machine guns and handguns. That scene down by the woods where we shot with you guys was a nightmare. It took me at least like 5 or 6 days to do that one.
Tell them about the muzzle flares.
What?
The muzzle flashes.
That's what I just was talking about.
You said the gunshots, not the muzzle flashes.
Oh, same thing. Yes.
How many hours of editing?
Oh, goodness. What happened was we finished editing in the fall, and I was busy with school up until about May. So I did a little bit of editing when I had free time, but I didn't consistently do it until the summer, and I was doing about 2 or 3 hours a day of editing. So total, I don't know, probably about 200 or 300 hours. It was a lot of work. And it was only 40 minutes, I mean. Imagine doing a 2-hour-long film.
How much film would you have shot to get to the 40 minutes, would you guess, that you had to piece through?
Well, if each frame is like that big, and there's 30 frames a second, and we had about 2.5 hours of film altogether. I don't have an exact number in foot, but that's the beauty of digital. We actually shot it with that camera right there that we're using. I bought a nicer camera for our next production, though. Yes?
Segue, you know, the next production. So what are your future
We are going to talk about that Actually, yeah, we'll just talk about it right now. Anyone else have any other questions about the actual production?
Any of you guys want to continue on doing this kind of thing yourselves, or?
Okay, let's talk about some future plans we have. I mentioned earlier that we had done the Best of A.P.T. Media Volume 1, which was a collection of 4 different short films we did. We are actually going to work on a sequel called the Best of A.P.T. Media Volume 2. Some of you have been a part of these and are waiting for me to finish editing them. So we got those 2 shot, and then there's going to be 2 more. We're just not sure what those are. We normally are just over at a friend's house and like, hey, let's make a movie. So those other 2 will probably just come up at some random point. And then our next thing we are going to do is very exciting. I've got some very exciting teaser art for the next production. Yes. Here's the deal with that. I am working on another script for another feature film, which I'm coining as something over 10 minutes long. I'm working on a story right now. It's still very tentative and up in the air, but basically what we're doing is we're looking at taking revenge, and we're looking at, is this the right way? It's the just way, but is it the right way? So we're going to work some more on character development and camera technique. I'm upgrading from that to a DSLR camera, which I'm very excited about. So we will be planning on shooting that next summer if all goes well. So, a couple things I want you to know about. We have 2 newsletters we're starting. One's called our Projects newsletter. We have sign-up sheets back by the table. If you are interested in being part of A.P.T. Media, you don't have to be a guy, by the way. We are expanding to female roles now. So you can sign up for our Projects newsletter, and will be on our email list of stuff we might want to hear about that we're working on. Or if you just want to know about what we're up to lately, you can sign up for our newsletter. And then for our next project, which I just mentioned, we're going to tentatively cast and look for crew for that next spring. So if you are interested in that, please sign up for the Projects newsletter. By the way, before I talk into the next thing, 2 things, just one thing to keep in mind. I mentioned Hollywood Productions. That's in lieu of my NAS name, Ryan Hall. That's separate from A.P.T. Media. Hollywood Productions is basically just stuff I do by myself. A.P.T. Media is stuff we do as a group. So with that said, there are 2 YouTube channels to check out, and we have handouts back on the table as well. The first is youtube.com/actionpackedthriller. All our short clips for Endgame, probably some more stuff we will be doing in the future, and the full film for Endgame will be on this channel. And then the next channel to check out is youtube.com/HollywoodProduction3. No S, it's just Hollywood Production and then 3. And that's just stuff I do by myself, like Lego animations, just one-person shoots and stuff like that. I'm doing a series where I'm uploading 1 new video to my YouTube channel every Saturday morning. So if you're interested in that, please check me out on YouTube. We're also on Google+, so both for Hollywood and A.P.T. Media. You can check us out there. And I think that's about it. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. This has been something I've wanted to do for a very long time again, and I'm very excited to see such a large turnout, and I'm hoping you enjoyed the film. I'd like to thank my family for helping me set up the room and taking care of food and printing photos and stuff. This last 3 or 4 days has been a little chaotic at our house, but it's been fun and I've really enjoyed it. So with that being said, thanks again for coming, and there's some more food, and enjoy. Thank you.